Hey, wake up.
What?
You have a lot of work to do.
Oh,
Look, what did you do to the raspberry and blackberry? This is a mess.
man. Yeah, I did get a little screwed up.
You sleep too much.
Yeah. Ah!
Hey, wake
First things first, we're just gonna cut down everything to the ground. You just cut them down to the ground. Raspberries kind of grow out sideways from a base, and blackberries just go kind of crazy with these canes that drop into the soil, and then out of the bottom of the cane it just starts growing. So we have just like 100 blackberry plants here. And this is where you don't want weeds. In your raspberry, blackberry patch. The hell? Maintenance with wood chips or landscape cloth will prevent all this. We transplanted small trees out of here. We got those. We got a Rose of Sharon. Look how mature that Rose of Sharon is. Got a little maple growing there. Oh, 2 maples. I'm gonna have to take those to the forest. Step 2 is gonna be get these guys in good position for the rest of the growing year and even into winter. Well, we got a little bit of work to do, so let's get busy. So, weeds are gone. This is about 6 wheelbarrows of weeds out of here. You saw the before. This is sort of the after as we recover our blackberry raspberry patch in here. What I want to do is just show you, not only did we weed this patch, what we ended up doing is right before a rainstorm last night. Now it's hot as hell today, but it was kind of cool. It's May 23rd, 2020. What we did is, after pulling out the weeds in a hurry before the rain came last night, we put down some wonderful fertilizer, very special type of fertilizer by Espoma. There'll be an ad below. I do make a commission off of it if you were to click on it, but that's what we use here. So after it's weeded, put down a little bit of fertilizer, and then we introduce our compost. Just this wonderful black compost here. And you can just feel it. Like, I know it's hot today, but compost is just so full of life. It's like itself, it's hot. So first there's the fertilizer, then it's the compost. Let's dig down, in fact, and look for a little fertilizer. I don't know if it's still in the soil. There's wood debris in here that's good for compost. Well, the fertilizer probably melted away a bit. Healthy amount of compost, and then what we're going to do is plant, or not plant, but cover this whole area with a good 3 inches of wood chip. And that's going to keep the weeds from coming back for at least, we get about 2 years from our wood chips. We pick the wood chips that are not like rotting, but the wood chips that are really kind of close to the surface of our wood chip pile. That's really drier and rougher in the cut, and that prevents weeds from coming up. So I'm a little torn about using the landscape cloth because I'm torn about using any sort of synthetic material. But I can tell you, after this area was abandoned for a while and I just weeded out about 6 wheelbarrows of weeds, I can tell you the weeds that are over the landscape cloth were really, really easy to pull out. This trench in here doesn't have any landscape cloth, so we had to use a very special gardening tool. There'll be a link for it too. It's a Japanese hand trowel scratching tool that was just priceless in scratching out the weeds that were embedded in our more native soil here. So there's a trench in here with no landscape cloth. That was the original planting of our blackberry and raspberry, and around the perimeter I put down this landscape cloth, and again it just turned out to be a priceless material to pull weeds off of. We used a different hand trowel on this, and in the native soil planting area we used a more pointed and a stronger hand trowel. So what we're going to do is cover this entire area in wood chips. That's going to give us at least another 2 years. The blackberry raspberries thrive in compost. They do really well. Their roots are very, very close to the surface. And on top of the compost is our last layer of protection, and that's wood chips. We have a lot of wood chips out in front. We have tons of wood chips we had delivered last year. And the wood chip I selected, so there's wood chips from all sorts of different types of trees. And the wood chip I selected for here was cedar, and this cedar really, it takes a while for it to surrender to decomposition and weeds. So you can see it's a real thick layer of wood chips. You want real loose stuff, and you want to avoid walking on top of those wood chips, by the way, to avoid the compacting wood chips. The looser your wood chips, the harder it is for weeds to set root. So we got a long ways to go. You see, I started with the wood chips over here on the blackberry. And come on down here, I'll show you where I started on the other end. This all still needs to be filled in with wood chip. This is the raspberry area, although we do have a blackberry that got over here. How do I know? Well, there's very different growth pattern here. That blackberry is very vigorous. I'm sure this is Triple Crown, and I'm sure this is Red Heritage, and the Red Heritage is already fruiting. The Triple Crown does what it does real well right now, and that's grow like hell, and its fruit or flowers are on its way. Anyways, getting back to wood chips. Out here in the walking area, by the way, I use a different type of wood chip. I save the wood chips from cedar for acidic loving plants, particularly the blueberry. Now I went ahead and spread it around the blackberry and raspberry, the cedar, to maximize the amount of time I have before it decomposes. This here is going to be a little more of a walking area, so I used run-of-the-mill wood chips. And again, what I selected was wood chips that is just as chippy and large as possible. The larger your wood chips, the longer it's going to take for it to decompose, and the fewer weeds that can plant or start growing in it. Are selective about what wood chips we use, or mindful of it. Cedar, thick layer, at least 2 inches. It's a lot of hauling, but we're going to get at least 2 years out of this. I'm envisioning at least a third video after this video where we talk about the fruit. I don't want to get too long-winded, but a small preview of it is Maria can actually show you right from where she's standing. This is, I'm certain, of black raspberry. That's coming to fruit. I showed you the Red Heritage that's coming to fruit. That's the Red Heritage right there that's fruiting. And this is another crazy ass blackberry that probably don't belong in here. It's thornless, so I'm very sure it's Triple Crown, and it's starting to bloom. So in our next video, we're going to talk again about the Primocane versus Floricane. All this is 1 year wood, which is Primocane, and all of it's fruiting. So we're still learning Primocane, Floricane, 2 year wood, 1 year wood. Bottom line is we're getting some awesome flowers. This is a blackberry. You just tell by the leaves. Once you've been doing this for a little while, You can tell by the leaves. This real thorny SOB, this real thorny one is probably Kauai, if I'm pronouncing it right. It already bloomed. It is starting to fruit, and I believe the Kauais are known for very large fruit, and you can already see the size of this fruit relative to my finger, and it's got a long ways to go. Kauai, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is a thorny, very, very thorny blackberry. Here's the flowers too, and you can see the flowers are sort of almost equivalent to fruit size, so it's really a big flower, and this variety makes a big fruit. Prime Arc is another blackberry that makes a very large fruit. What I wanted to show you is this pink flower, but I just broke the limb, and that's the pinkish flower that you get. And this is after. Now we're going to give her a good soaking and then enjoy some blackberry and raspberry in our patch that we rescued. So if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Appreciate you watching. Happy gardening. Leave your comments. Take care. Be safe, everyone. Take care.